What's going on, guys? So we got some 5th gen Camaro action on the dyno today. So I'm heading over there right now, walking over. So 2012 Camaro SS automatic L99. So this car came in pretty much stock. It had a Borla catback on it. Everything else was stock on the car. So we added a Roto-Fab, cold air, ported the throttle body, American Racing, our Nickey edition American Racing 2-inch headers, and then we hooked that to the Borla system. We also had them ceramic coated, so they look nice and shiny. And ceramic coating actually does help hold that heat in a little better too. Keep the engine bay a little cooler on those hot days. And we did a low temp thermostat. So I'm gonna finish strapping this thing down, get my cables hooked up, and we'll get a tune-up in it. And we'll take a look at some final numbers. I did a baseline on it before we did any work, obviously, so we can compare that to where we end up. So I'll film this one. I'm a little short on time. We're right before the holiday here, so we got a couple things to wrap up. So I'll work up a tune, and we'll take a look at the final run, and I'll put some other graphs up there of the working runs along with the baseline, and we'll go from there. Take a look at that. Hit these fans. So picked up a little bit. I added some timing on that run, and we'll kind of go over this. So 360 and 381. So a bunch of graphs up here so we can kind of go over this. So the 326 was the baseline. So this car, again, was completely stock when it came in down to the paper filter. And I had a couple, 2 working runs that I only took it up to 4,505 just to kind of set my timing and my air fuel, see where my air mass was going to be, and kind of get my baselines down. I didn't include those just because they were half pulls and whatever. So 351 was my first full pull. That was to the richer side and to the lower side of timing, obviously, and then kind of working it up from there. I might have flipped when I brought these up. I might have flipped. Well, anyway, these were working runs. So then I actually added some retard on the cam timing. So this, again, this is a L99 with variable cam timing with the VVT solenoid, so I can manipulate that. I actually retarded the cam a degree out at the top, and it picked up. So it liked that. And then for that run, I added a little more ignition timing, and it picked up a little bit more. So 360 and 381 is, I'm going to call that my final, because, again, I've done tons of these and I know where they stop making power. So what we can do here is, to make it not look so busy, we close these off, and we'll open up my baseline, and we'll open up that final, just to look at the baseline to the final. So what did we pick up there? 34 and 41 torque. It's pretty good for a couple bolt-ons, and you can see the you know, we gained quite a bit in the mid-range here. So we can get our cursor all opened here, and so like in this area here, we were 313 to 357, so that's a 40 horsepower at the wheels. Yeah, I mean, and there we picked up, 45 pound-feet of torque. So that's a big, you know, on something making less than 400 wheel, when you're talking 30-40, we're over 10% gain. So on like an 800 wheel car, it'd be like 80 horsepower. So definitely going to feel this gain. It's going to be a huge difference when you're driving the car, when you roll onto the throttle. So I'll kill this cursor. we'll take a look at the data log. So I got a couple little nicks of knock. I could maybe back the timing down a half a degree or so, but nothing crazy. So again, kind of what I, when I go through this tuning process, I always get my air fuel. I set the timing low, and I'll get my air fuel dialed up, and so you can see my air fuel is nice and smooth. That yellow line down here, nice and smooth, right where I want it on one of these. So this car, again, I hate, I'm sure people all across the country watch these videos, but I'll pick on states because just where we are. So we're in northern Illinois, kind of close to the Wisconsin-Illinois border, kind of central northern Illinois. And Illinois here, we have 93 octane with 10% ethanol. A lot of the Wisconsin people that are from Wisconsin, and they get stuck with 91 octane. So, which does make a difference, even on something like this. This still is a 10.5 to 1 compression engine, and a 93 octane E10 kind of gets you at about MBT on one of these things, but when you start pulling it back from there, you do got to kind of play with the timing a little bit. So, but I was able to put some decent timing in these. A lot of the time, these bolt-on L99s will take like 28, 29 at peak. So you can see this is kind of nicking the sensors a little short of that, but we're pretty close. But going back to that, I'll always tune these a smidge rich because they tend to be a little less knock sensitive when they're towards the richer side. And I've talked about this before with LS engines, and I've tested this out with these LS motors. There's a pretty wide tuning window for the air fuel ratio. I've seen when I've tested it, they'll make the same power at 12.4, 12.5 to 1 when I'm talking a gasoline air fuel ratio scale. Mid 12s all the way to like 12.9. It's the same. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't have to be 12.9 to 1 to make peak power. They really don't. When you start going rich, they really don't start dropping power off until you get to like 12.2, 12.1, and it's like small bits. Like this car would probably make like 3 or 4 less horsepower at like 12.0 to 1. It'd be very small amounts. And then once you go too lean, it actually starts dropping off the other way. Once you get like 13.0, 13.1, it actually starts making less power. There's kind of a bell curve to the air fuel. But these engines will make peak power anywhere between 12.5 and 12.9 to 1. So I always set them to I always like setting them to slightly on the richer side. So I like shooting for that like 12.5 to 1 when you're talking an AFR, so air fuel ratio on a gasoline scale. I tune in lambda. I'm always targeting I try to target between 0.86 and 0.88, and you can see that's right where I am on this car. So, and you can see timing, I'm ramping it up to about 27. I don't think it needs that much. I could probably pull about a degree out of it just so there's no knock at all. I'll probably just nick a degree out of the timing table and load that in, and this thing will be good to go. So, take a look at the graph one more time, just so you guys can see that gain of an L99 bolt-on car. So that'll wrap it up for this one, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. I like reading comments and answering questions and stuff on the comment section. So until then, get some more dyno videos out of that, and we'll hopefully get a couple more cars up here after Thanksgiving. We got some more coming down the line. So thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later.